Habits are mostly taught as secrets to success and personal growth. We are told that if we just develop the right habits, we can transform our life and achieve our dreams. But what if there is a darker side of our habit that we are not acknowledging? I have seen firsthand how our habits can actually hold us back and prevent us from achieving our true fulfillment. The truth is that habits can be double-edged swords. While they can help us create positive change in our life, they can also become sources of rigidity, anxiety, and even addiction. But before we dive into the dark side of habits, I want to acknowledge that this can be a sensitive and emotional topic for many of us. We all have that habit we struggle with, and it can be difficult to admit when they are no longer serving us. I want to let you know that you are not alone. We all have the ability to change and grow. And by exploring the dark side of our habit, we can unlock new level of self-awareness and personal transformation. So let's take a moment to reflect on our own habits and how they affect our life. Are we using our habits as a tool for growth, or are we relying on them as a crutch? Are our habits aligned with our values and aspirations, or are they holding us back? By exploring these questions and more, we can begin to unlock new levels of self-awareness and cultivate a more balanced and fulfilling approach to our personal development. So are you ready to join me in this journey? Let's explore the dark side of habits and uncover how we can cultivate a more sustainable approach to our personal growth. First and foremost, habits can be addictive. Habits can be addictive because they are deeply ingrained in our brain through the process of repetition. Every time we repeat a behavior, we strengthen the neural pathways associated with it, making it easier for our brain to automate the behavior in the future. This process can be incredibly beneficial when it comes to healthy habits such as exercising regularly or eating a balanced diet. But it can also be detrimental when it comes to unhealthy habits such as smoking or overeating. The addictive nature of habits is due to the release of dopamine in the brain when we engage in certain behaviors. Dopamine is a chemical that is associated with pleasure and reward, and when we engage in behavior that triggers its release, we feel good and are more likely to repeat the behavior more and more in the future. This is why breaking bad habits can be so difficult, as the brain has become accustomed to the pleasures associated with the behavior. But by understanding the science behind the habit and addiction, we can begin to take steps to break from unhealthy habits and develop new habits that are healthy to our goals. Another way habits can be dangerous is when we use them to avoid emotions. Habits are not just actions that we repeat over and over again, but they can also be used to avoid dealing with certain emotions. Sometimes when we feel stressed, we might turn to habits as a coping mechanism. This can be dangerous if the habit is harmful, such as turning to alcohol or drugs to numb the emotions. In the long run, this avoidance can lead to a dependency on the habit and prevent us from developing healthier ways to deal with our emotions. It is important to recognize when habits are being used to avoid emotions and to find healthier ways to cope with them. Also, habits can also serve as a distraction from deeper emotional issues. Instead of facing and processing these issues, we might distract ourselves with habits such as constantly checking our phones or watching TV shows. While distractions can be helpful in the short term, they can prevent us from addressing the root of our emotional problems. This can lead to a cycle of avoidance and the temporary relief from the distractions, which ultimately leads to unresolved emotional issues. It is important to recognize when habits are being used as distractions and to find ways to address and process the underlying emotional issues. Another reason why our habits can be used against us is because they are difficult to break. Habits are patterns of behavior that we engage in regularly and repeatedly. These behaviors become automatic over time and can be difficult to break. Once we establish a habit, it becomes part of our routine and can be challenging to change, even if we recognize that they are no longer serving us well. The difficulty in breaking habits can be due to the neurological pathways they create in the brain, which become stronger with repeated use. These pathways can make it challenging to form new habits, as our brains are wired to follow familiar patterns of behavior. Habits can become part of our identities, making it challenging to separate ourselves from them. Breaking a habit can require significant effort and intentionality. It can be helpful to identify the triggers and the reward associated with the habit, as well as the negative consequences it may have in our life. With this information, we can work to replace the habit with a more positive behavior that serves us better. It is important to remember that breaking a habit is a process and setbacks are normal. It is essential to be patient with ourselves and seek support if needed to make the necessary changes. Developing new habits that align with our values and goals can ultimately lead to a more fulfilling and purposeful life. In a similar vein, habits can limit personal growth. Habits are automatic routines that we repeat consistently, often without conscious thought. While some habits can be beneficial, such as daily exercise or healthy eating, others can be detrimental and limit personal growth. When we develop habits that hinder our personal growth, we become too comfortable and we may be less likely to try new things or challenge ourselves. This can lead to lack of growth and development, which can have negative consequences for our personal lives and professional lives. Habits that limit personal growth can be difficult to identify as they often manifest in subtle ways. For example, staying in a job or relationship that is no longer fulfilling may be a habit. The key to overcoming limiting habits is to become aware of them and take steps to break them. This may involve seeking out new experiences, setting challenging goals, or working with a therapist or a coach to develop a growth mindset. By breaking limiting habits, we can open ourselves up to new opportunities and experiences leading to personal and professional growth. Similarly, habits can lead to complacency. Habits are powerful tools that can shape our life in many ways. But one of the potential drawbacks of habits is that they can lead to being over comfort. When we engage in the same routine behaviors over and over again, we may start to become more complacent and lose our sense of motivation and drive. This can be especially problematic when it comes to personal growth and development. If we become too comfortable with our current situation, we may less likely to take risks or pursue new opportunities that will help us grow and achieve our goals. Complacency can also lead to a sense of stagnation and boredom. When we are stuck in a routine and not challenging ourselves, we may start to feel unfulfilled and dissatisfied with our life. This can lead to feelings of apathy and even depression. To avoid complacency, it is important to continually challenge ourselves and push beyond our comfort zones. This can mean trying new things, taking new challenges, and setting ambitious goals for ourselves. By maintaining a sense of curiosity and adventure, we can avoid getting stuck in a rut and continue to grow and develop as individuals. This is why we call it a wrap on today's video. Hope you love it, and if you do, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you your way next time.